Mommy doesn't have to teach you, baby. If you watch when I'm doing it,
I see what you use.
baby, drink the tea so you can live for school. You need a glass full. You need a glass full of tea. Hurry up, please.